From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
What's up, world? It's the one and only Pop DiBiase, the primetime capper, and I'm feeling good. I'm feeling great. I hope you are feeling the same. And boy, oh boy, we had ourselves a great week of, pretty much a great weekend of sports. We had the baseball, we had the football, and we also had some basketball. So, NBA is in full motion right now. We're kind of getting to the end of the preseason portion of the regular season, which is, the last few weeks of October and everything like that. So, we got a lot to talk about today, but let's go ahead and jump into the NFL and what happened yesterday. Great spots. The Cowboys scored 49 points yesterday. Big deal with that as well. The Eagles improved to 7-0. Then you had the Rams and 49ers face off over at SoFi yesterday. The 49ers were able to be very successful again against the 49ers, beating them. Against the Rams, beating them 31-14 and getting their 8th win in a row since moving back to Los Angeles. And I'm gonna be dead honest with you guys. You guys have to know this as well too. They've beaten the Rams the last 9 out of 10 times as well, too, and probably I think the last 11 out of 12 times in the regular season. But the Rams do have that big win in the playoffs over them last season as well, too. But that can be kind of questioned as well, too, because we all know that we're all still now questioning the Rams Super Bowl as well, too. So it is what it is at the end of the day. It's just the Rams were already a middling team to start the season off. So, I didn't expect much from them. I know a lot of people feel like Matt Stafford still has it, but I told you guys since the first game of the season that he's pretty washed after he got his big contract later in his career after breaking his back and still, getting a big contract for winning a Super Bowl that was assisted by Pro Bowl players like Von Miller, OBJ, Sony Michel as well, too, he's not a big Pro Bowler or anything like that, but Sony Michel was pretty key to them winning that championship as well, too. They lost a lot of guys. So, the Rams on a bounce back, being a back-to-back champion, that was never going to happen. So it is what it is at the end of the day. Tennessee did well yesterday, increasing their lead in the AFC South, and you just pretty much have the Chiefs off this week, the Chargers off this week. So the Raiders were trying to gain some ground. They weren't able to do that. So let's go ahead and get into the Raiders real quick. But NFL Week 8 aftermath, I'll have more for you tomorrow on this. Pretty much, we got Monday Night Football and everything going up tonight. I want the week to end. And also, I'll talk about it a lot on NFL Bet Exchange tomorrow as well, too, because we will have the NFL Bet Exchange tomorrow. I might be by myself because Jeff is actually on a cruise this week. So hopefully Jeff can find some time within his cruise to go ahead and get on the show. But regardless, the show must go on. So we'll still have Jeff's plays here. It'll just be me talking about the plays. So pretty much, hopefully we'll have them on, but you guys know how it is. It is what it is at the end of the day. So pretty much, let's go ahead and jump into our next topic, and that's going to be the Raiders. The Raiders lose 24-0 to Saints as former head coach Allen gets his revenge over his former team. Is the season over for the Silver and Black? Well, it's getting dicey, and I know that a lot of people are chirping about McDaniels now. McDaniels 2-5 to start off for the Raiders this year. The Raiders were actually in every single game this season, and then yesterday they got blown out. The Raiders only lost by a touchdown or a field goal in each of their losses this season. The Saints absolutely took them to the shed, but Alvin Kamara had a day yesterday. He had a tremendous day yesterday. He wound up getting a fairly good amount of yards. He got 156 total yards passing and catching, and he was able to score 3 touchdowns yesterday as well too. So that was huge for Andy Dalton. When I'm breaking down the numbers, the Raiders just had an awful game. They gave 22 first downs. The Saints were very good on third down, getting 7 out of 12 of third down in third down position. They also got a season high on the Raiders, 367 yards total, 231 through the air, 136 rushing yards. And you know what? When you look at the plays, the Raiders did not run. The Raiders, it wasn't like it was a big differential in the plays that were being ran either. The Raiders ran 56, the Saints ran 63. So when you look at this, the Raiders just had a bad day. Derek Carr hit the ground 4 times. There was an interception in this game as well too. The Raiders had 6 penalties to the 5 that the Saints had, but when you look at the Raiders penalties, their penalties were almost 10 yards per penalty. So you're not going to win games like that. And the differential in time possession, the Saints had the ball for about 9 more minutes. That's where the Saints really got the Raiders at, is in holding on to the ball and just, doing what they had to do. But I think moving forward for the Raiders, when I look at their schedule moving forward, the Raiders should not be too worried. They got Jacksonville coming up next week. That's going to be a road game. Then they have Indianapolis, a team that's struggling, and they're not going to go back to Matt Ryan. I think that's more of a Indianapolis team is very good defensively, but I think the Raiders will be sufficient in that game. Then they have to go to Denver. That's going to be a tricky game right there because Denver's actually picking it up, and they're getting much better. They can go ahead and get a big upset over Seattle because they always play Seattle tough. And then I'm looking at this December end as well, too, the final 6 games of the season where they line it up with the Chargers and the Rams back-to-back. They'll be back in L.A. this year as well, too. So that could be a huge game for them when they play the Rams on the 8th because they'll have a home field advantage there. Then they get the get-back game with New England, which is going to be a Sunday night game, but that might get shifted out of the Sunday night spot because at that point in time, they probably will be doing the switch. But I think that they're going to play this one up because it's Belichick versus McDaniels. So they're going to want to put this on national television because, these are 2 guys that won many Super Bowls together. Then they end up with Pittsburgh, San Francisco, and Kansas City at the end. And 2 of those, and the 2 out of 3 of those final games are at home. And those are actually the final 2 games of the season. So the Raiders still have time. That's the whole thing. The Raiders still have time. And if they were to win out, they would actually be if they were to say win the next 7 out of 9, they would be 10-7 going, and they might possibly make the playoffs. But the Raiders got to start their move now. I say this, they really do have to get the next 3 in a row, which is very possible, but 2 out of 3 of those games are on the road. And then when they meet up with Seattle, it's going to be home game. It's going to be road game, home game, road game, home game, road game, 2 home games. So that's what the Raiders are looking ahead. And I know one thing, if they go to Jacksonville and play the same way that they did in New Orleans, Josh McDaniels is going to be on a very, very short leash from Mark Davis because Mark Davis is expected so much more from Josh McDaniels to where he was going to be able to pick up where last year's team left off. They didn't add the pieces, though, for McDaniels in the right facet and form, in my opinion. But we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it checks out. But the Raiders got to get this thing fixed, and they got to get this thing fixed quickly. All right, so let's go ahead and move on to the next topic in hand, and that's going to be this. We're going to go ahead and talk about it. We're going to talk about the state of the Lakers. The Lakers looking good last night. They went ahead and got an 11-point victory against the Denver Nuggets, and it was actually their first win of the season as well, too. So the big talk was Westbrook coming off the bench and making it much better for this Lakers team, depth-wise. But I think that at the end of the day, that's it's just a bunch of hucky. You know what I mean? It's just satisfying the media because it doesn't really matter if Russ starts or if Russ is coming off the bench. Russ is still a part of the big 3, and he still has to make his impact on the game. Now, what happened last night is that Russ was a key factor in them winning the game. But him coming off the bench, he was able to push that second unit a little bit more. And then guys who usually don't start, like Troy Brown Jr., were able to play a much better game because I guess they got some confidence because they were playing with LeBron and all these guys for a few minutes. But at the end of the day, when you look at it, these guys, Troy Brown got 26 minutes, Pat Beverly got 21. When you look at the numbers, you had Westbrook get 31 minutes off the bench. So literally he played starter minutes, but they just want to go ahead and fill out the game real quick to see exactly what to do. Now, they're saying that they have to do this because they have to figure out ways to get LeBron more rest. You know what I mean? Because people have to understand the man is about to be 38 years old on December 30th. He is not a spring chicken. Yes, he's putting $1 million on his body every year to be in the greatest shape of them all. Kobe did the same thing. You know, LeBron isn't a person that originated, you know, training as hard as possible to be at your absolute best. He actually took that from Jerry Rice. Jerry Rice was the first guy to say you have to be a step better every summer. But when Jerry Rice turned 38 years old, things started regressing a little bit. It didn't matter how hard he was going in his training session before getting into the season. I don't think LeBron went as hard as y'all think he did, because I saw LeBron sipping wine and tequilas and going to different events and being and I didn't see him doing the big LeBron training this year. And he already has a sore foot as is. So that's why the Lakers are trying to get him some rest so his leg doesn't snap in half, because he's at that point now that Kobe was at. Well, Kobe was a few years before that, because Kobe retired at 38 because he played 20 years already. But the thing is, though, when Kobe started catching those injuries, it was about 36, 37. LeBron he's getting a few more years on top of his, because there's different things that LeBron did, and he's kind of a bigger guy as well too. So I truly do think that you don't stop putting so much on Westbrook. Westbrook is a key factor to what's going on with this team. The reason why the Lakers won last night was because AD played the type of game a big man is supposed to play to keep his team intact. AD had a bad back last night, wound up scoring 23 points, getting 15 rebounds. That was huge against a guy like Jokic, who's going to go out there and get his 30, get his 15 rebounds, and then try to get 12 assists to top that off as well too. But what he did was he made Jokic work a bit last night. That was helpful for this team. You had to have somebody getting double-digit rebounds to really push the show. You guys are so worried about who's going to shoot and who's going to pass. No, you have to worry about playing really good defense. Playing really good defense doesn't mean that there was a bunch of shots that got thrown up and, you know, they didn't make anything. Good defense is a defense that can turn that into great offense. You know what I mean? A superior defense can make a great offense. The Lakers have to get that part. They had to stop settling for threes. They didn't do that last night. They figured out a way to actually play really good basketball as a team. So by Westbrook coming off the bench last night, he brought the needed energy that the Lakers traded away for Pat Beverly. And the Lakers have put themselves in this position. Everybody's still screaming for Buddy Hield and Miles Turner. The Lakers don't deserve to have that situation because it's not going to fix their situation. I keep trying to tell people this, is that if you bring on some more losers, they're just going to bring their loser mentality with them. You know, no offense to Buddy Hield, Turner. These guys can play really good basketball. But at the end of the day, though, they are not the guys that will help the Lakers get to the finals like everybody thinks. Buddy Hield is not that consistent of a shooter. He goes on hot streaks, you know, because if anything, they just pump it up because he wears 24. And that's stupid. Miles Turner stays hurt. So what's the point of bringing in these guys and then giving away so much more? The Lakers need to take their time. and they need to sift through some more deals. I thought that the Jazz probably had the best package because you get Mike Conley. Mike Conley can do so many great things for LeBron James as a point guard. You bring back Jordan Clarkson, that will help as well too. Rudy Gay is a good player as well. And then possibly you can start cutting some of this weight that's on the bench and possibly bring back guys like Melo. And then, hey, even Deion Waiters. But we'll see how this goes. We'll see how it shapes up. And I think that it's going to be a very, very trying season. I think that everybody just has to kind of go with the flow and understand that the season has just started. The Lakers got their first win of the season last night. They're going to be very confident all week. So we're going to see how it goes, and we're going to see how it shakes out. But I would say this, y'all got to stop worrying so much about the end of what Russell Westbrook as a Laker. He's on the team until further notice, and he's trying his best to really go ahead and figure out a way to fit in, blend in, and get these guys to where they want to be. And it ain't going to be no championship, and that's what you guys have to understand. The Lakers were never a championship-looking team. Last season, you kind of had a chance because you had a lot of good names with you. This year, you don't have that. You know what I mean? So looking at last night's stats, LeBron led all scorers, 26 points last night. That was good. Six rebounds, 8 assists. AD, 23-15. Like I said before, Lonnie Walker had 18 himself last night with 5 rebounds, 2 assists. Westbrook almost got a triple-double last night, shot 50%. Also went ahead and got 8 rebounds, 8 assists. That was super key to the Lakers getting this good win last night as well too. But they did get some help from Austin Reeves, and then Ryan he got to keep his job for another day by hitting 2 critical threes. But the Lakers were in fuego last night from 3 as well too. They hit 13 out of 30, 43% last night, so that worked out very well for the Lakers. But still, that's still jacking up too many shots in my opinion. So there it is, man. Lakers. And another reason why the Lakers won, they finally made free throws. They went 80% from the free throw line last night. They won the rebound battle. They pushed in the assist battle. And then, they only forced 1 extra turnover, but still they didn't lose the turnover battle last night either. So gotta give the Lakers their props. They did well last night. And you know what? At the end of the day, this will be huge moving forward for the Lakers going into November. Their next game coming up is going to be on, I'm checking now, the Lakers play New Orleans on Wednesday. So the Lakers actually get 2 days off. So that gives AD a chance to get his back right. And then that gives LeBron a chance to get his foot right. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out. But that is the state of the Lakers, and that's my 2 cents on what's going on. We'll be back with more on Wednesday when it comes to the Lakers. So you guys just hold up a moment, and when I get back, I'm going to go ahead and jump into some World Series baseball. Actually, we're going to jump into that now. So pretty much let's go ahead and get into that now, and let's look at the World Series Game 3 preview real quick. We got the Astros pulling up to Philadelphia. Philadelphia right now is 5-0 at home during the playoffs. They were able to get a nice sweep over they're 4-0 at home, sorry. They got a nice little sweep over the Braves, at home, beating them once. And then they were able to beat the Padres, who were looking like the favorite to get to the World Series. They beat them 3 times in Philly as well. So you have now the team that they upset in Game 1, the Astros coming in, who hadn't lost the game all playoffs. This reminds me of when the Lakers went to Philadelphia and Philly was really unbeatable at home, even though they did lose some games in the playoffs. But still, this reminds me of that playoff series because the Phillies won the first game against the Lakers. The Lakers hadn't lost the game all playoffs, okay? And then they went ahead and did a backdoor sweep. I'm feeling like the Astros tonight, they take advantage of the moment, and I think that the Philly fans are going to put themselves in a position where they've already felt like they won. They got Noah Syndergaard going on the mound, and he's going against Lance McCullers, a guy that's already won a World Series before. So I think that this one right here is going to be a very, very strategic game. It's going to be a very, very smart game in a sense. So I really do feel like we have ourselves probably the best game of the World Series going tonight, because this one is going to really determine who the winner is going to be. I think the winner of game 3 winds up winning the series. And as I said before, I would love for it to go like this. The Astros win 2 out of 3 here and then wrap it up in Houston, so then I can cash that game 6 ticket. But the more and more you look at it, I'm kind of looking at the fact that I could cash out the road playoff ticket. So there it is with that. And I think that this game tonight is going to be a really good one. You got 2 really good pitchers, but I know it's going to be a bullpen effort tonight as well, too. So let's see how it goes, see how it shakes out. I'll have some good bets for you guys when we get to talking tickets. So there it is. There it is. Let's move forward and talk about tonight's Monday Night Football game, and that's going to be between 2 old rivals, and it's going to be between big brother, little brother, the Browns and the Bengals. The Browns have beat the Bengals the last 4 times they've played each other. But the Bengals, it was a different time, right? Even though the Bengals went to the Super Bowl last year as well, too. So I think that when it comes down to this game right here, they're gonna make you overbet the Bengals here, because everybody has this idea the Bengals are killing it. They're about to be they're squadding up right now. They're doing big things, but who are they playing? They're not playing teams that are going to the playoffs. I think that the Bengals are who they are. A lot of people have this smoke and mirrors mentality that they're really that good, but I don't see it. Joe Burrow is an excellent quarterback. He has some really good games, but when Joe Burrow can get touched and get hit, he doesn't look that good. He has that Boomer Esiason feel to me, where you'll play 3 or 4 really good games, and then when somebody has you figured out, then that's when you blow. But I know why a lot of people are getting excited about the Bengals, because the Bengals started off the season losing their first 2 games of the year, and then they wind up winning the next 4 out of 5. And so now they're sitting in position to where they are right there in the lead when it comes to the division. And if they do win, they'll be in a tie with the Ravens, even though the Ravens do own the tiebreaker from beating them a few weeks back. But they got a good win over Atlanta. That was a big confidence booster for this team. They got a good win at New Orleans as well, too. So you look at this game in Cleveland tonight. This is a game where they're licking their chops, because they're like, we got Cleveland, we got Carolina, then we got the bye. But I would say this, though. This could be a tired team going into this game as well, too. So there's a lot of elements to me that are working against the Bengals tonight. I think the Browns the Browns are on national television. They're already 1-0 on national television. And I think that the way that this game sets up, it's going to be a Nick Chubb night tonight. So I think that the Browns are in good hands. And if they can get Kareem Hunt going in this spot as well, too, that should be good as well. And then this will open up things for Brissett. And I know that they're looking for Amari Cooper to have a huge game tonight as well. So with that, we're going to go ahead and actually take our first break like I wanted to a few moments ago, but we're going to do it now. So when I get back, we're going to go ahead and jump into some boxing news, and we're going to talk about what transpired over the weekend and what's going to transpire over this weekend. So there it is. When I get back, you guys go ahead and, ask me some questions if you have some questions about these boxing topics that I have. But all in all, though, you guys already know what to do. You guys stay tuned. This is the premier sports betting show, the PrimeTime Angles, live with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the PrimeTime Capper.
Now you and your friends can compete in the sport of kings and win big with Stable Duel. Get the app, pick your horses, and get in on the thrill of horse racing with daily games competing against other players. Bring home the glory and the cash, and move up the annual leaderboard while you leave your competition in the dust. Get in the game with Stable Duel. Play, race, win.
Good News Only Racing Club, led by the legendary Doug O'Neill, the trainer of 2 Kentucky Derby winners and I'll Have Another and Nyquist. Also trained 2-time Breeders' Cup champ Golden Sense, who are just a part of a long list of thoroughbred champions trained by Doug O'Neill. The Good News Only Racing Club has a young core of horses to look out for in Dennis's Celery, Irish Heatwave, and Notre Dame, just to name a few. Win the day every day with the Good News Only Racing Club, a proud sponsor of the NFL Bet Exchange.
All right, we are back with the PrimeTime Angles Live with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the PrimeTime Capper. You can watch this on my YouTube channel, Prime Wave Media, or you guys can watch it on the Twitter at Pop DiBiase. Then we have it on Facebook Live as well, too, on the PrimeTime Angles page and on my personal page as well. So let's go ahead and jump into some boxing business. And we have Mr. Jake Paul beating Anderson Silva, the Spider, legendary MMA fighter, champion for a decade or so. Also was a professional boxer in the beginning of his career as well, too. He was 1-1 as a pro, and then he moved on to MMA. But, you know, he's been in several boxing matches and exhibitions lately, so he was able to fight Jake Paul. And this is the biggest name on Jake Paul's resume. And pretty much this is where we have our you know, we have ourselves a really good idea here with the Nate Diaz and Jake Paul situation happening possibly, you know, in a few months. So Jake Paul, man, I'm telling you, a lot of people will get mad about Jake Paul, but Jake Paul is a guy that he is actually trying to be a good boxer, and he probably looked his absolute best in this fight right here, because the fight itself was one that was going to be tough. He could have got knocked out by Anderson Silva, to be honest with you. Anderson Silva was still landing some really good punches on him, and he looked much better than Woodley. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, Woodley did not look like a guy who really knew what he was doing hands-wise. He looked like if it was a wrestling match, he would be slamming Jake all over the ring. You know what I mean? If it was MMA, he would have whooped Jake. But he did put the fear in Jake for Jake to understand that it's not a game in this ring. You know what I mean? So him fighting Silva was a good way to judge if any of that boxing training he'd been doing for the last 4 years or 5 years of what he was saying really was working. And it did. And he wound up having himself a unanimous decision over Silva, but it did not hit the same way it does when he knocks people out. He had a regular fight, winds up being a decision. Some people felt like, hey, you know, maybe Paul is a guy that we can take seriously. Then other people went to say, well, you know, Silva's 47, so it really doesn't matter. It doesn't really count, blah, 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 blah. Then I tell myself, can you go in there and beat Anderson Silva? I know he's 47, but still, if you're 25 and you don't have the same hand skills as him, he going to knock you out. But with Jake Paul, he didn't knock Jake Paul out. Jake Paul was able to do enough to get the win. I'm surprised that Jake Paul did not hit the ground one time in this fight, but he fought like a professional boxer. And a lot of people have to get over the fact that the man goes and trains as hard as, you know, any professional. I'm not going to say top professional, but he trains much harder than people I've seen in the gym, you know what I mean, that are active fighters on big cards, you know what I mean? So, you know, in a sense, he has to do a little bit more because he is, you know, still somewhat of an amateur at this, but he's beating guys like Silva. Even though Silva's 47, they said this was supposed to be the moment where Jake Paul gets beat on, and he did not get beat on. So I would say this: if they can go ahead and do what they're supposed to do, that's go get Mr. Nate Diaz. And this fight, that could be one of the biggest pay-per-views of all time, because Nate Diaz is a guy who can help you sell a fight to a T. Even though they do have the bad boy mentality, they do kind of wreck things when they kind of press conferences. They have the I the IDGAF attitude, but that's what's going to sell in this boxing world at the moment, because everybody wants high drama, everybody wants high trash talking, and everybody wants to see the guy who's going to be able to end this little fiasco they think that Jake Paul is trying to run. So at the end of the day, it's going to be some good things going on. It's going to be some bad things going on. But boxing is really been able to be more talked about because these YouTubers have came in and pretty much, felt like they're doing something serious, but they're not getting in the way that hard, because what they're doing is they challenging each other. But this wasn't a YouTube situation, and I think that we got to stop calling Jake Paul a YouTube boxer, because he's doing a bit more than Austin McBroom and Gibb, you know what I mean, and KSI. These guys have to keep fighting celebrities. Jake's actually fighting actual fighters. Even though they're kind of old, even though they're not professional boxers, they still know how to throw their hands. So it is what it is regardless. And it's all about the names you bring to the table. You're trying to sell a big event. That's it, and that's all. All right, let's go ahead and talk about, but we will get into some real boxing right now. Let's talk about Devin Haney and Loma. I say real boxing because this is for belts. This is for bragging rights. This is for a lot of things. So we have Loma wins his tune-up over Ortiz. A lot of people were kind of mad about that because he didn't have a perfect victory over Ortiz. And then will the super fight happen with Devin Haney? Will it be next? Well, Devin Haney walked his cool self into the ring. He had his lovely girlfriend with him and his father, and he walks in Floyd Mayweather style somewhat. And he's not acting like Pretty Boy Floyd. He's acting like Money Mayweather, but he does have the tools to be like Money Mayweather, because the thing is, he's actually funding himself, even though he's on Top Rank. Top Rank is a partner of Devin Haney. Devin Haney Promotions is an actual promotion. And a lot of people have to get that through their thick heads that he don't have no promoter. He's doing deals with promoters in the same facet as Ray Leonard. You know what I mean? It's how much you guys don't know about the business. A lot of people who come out and say, give me my money, give me my check, they're not tied in with that promoter. They're just over here trying to make the money. And see, this fight right here calls for a possible pay-per-view just to see if Devin Haney is box office, because now they're talking about him more and more. Devin Haney was seen as a guy that couldn't crack hard. He was boring to watch. Boo, 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 boo. But the thing was, Devin was really dominating guys to the point to where it's just not a good. It's just, people don't like that. But if Devin was a different nationality, if it's, if he was Devin Garcia, then he would be he would be next to God himself. And I'm not saying this to be racial or anything like that, but come on, you guys show your true colors every single day. Come on, let's see what's going on with the situation with Black Prime. You guys are so mad that Bud Crawford signed with some guys that have the same complexion as him. They have a great idea. They have the money in place. You don't need to know where their money's coming from because you're not a part of that situation. What you need to do is you need to be a fan and watch the fight. Or if the fight goes on, you watch the fight. If the fight doesn't go on, you move on with your life. You guys know the business of boxing. You guys know the state of boxing right now. It's not in a good place. So when you start bringing in outside entities that have some money to spend, they have a venue in place, and they've signed people, you don't go ahead and go against it. You try to support it because they're going to try to give you a fight with this superstar to build up this next big fight, because Spence Crawford, I'm sorry to tell y'all this, it ain't ready on a public viewing. It's ready on a boxing viewing, hardcore fans, but all these casuals and all these people that y'all don't like, if they don't sign up for it, it's going to lose a lot of money. Spence Crawford should lose no money. All right. This fight, though, on pay-per-view, it's okay if it loses a couple dollars, because then we can see, is there a demand for Devin Haney? So then there can be a mega fight. So the mega fight can be real with Shakur. So the mega fight can be real with Tank. This is the way that you're going to get Devin the big fights with Ryan Garcia and get Devin the big fight with Teofimo Lopez. That's how you're going to get Devin all the big things that he needs, because once he shows that he can do, say, 100,000 on pay-per-view, that makes him that more intriguing. And y'all got to understand, pay-per-view will never get back to 1.5 million buys, because everybody's still in the fight. So if you can get a Canelo number like 800,000, even though that's kind of ballooned, it was really 500,000 when Canelo was really all said and done. But they counted the international viewers as well too. If you count the international viewers on fights that are in America as well, you would get better numbers. So that's why I just keep saying that. Let's just go ahead and keep it to where it looked in the U.S., because that's the market that boxing wants, is the U.S. market. All across the world that's great. But at the end of the day, it can be inflated. You know what I mean? So Loma Haney is the best possible fight that can happen within the next 90 days, in my opinion, because that's probably the point in time it's going to be. And I would say this, that they could go ahead and have this fight right back in New York City at Madison Square Garden. This can be the biggest moment of Devin Haney's career right here. And he can go ahead and fight Lomachenko, who's seen as the kingpin of the 130, 135, regardless of what you guys say. A few years back, they said the man was untouchable. They called him the Matrix. He got beat by Teofimo Lopez in the pandemic year, and a lot of people just said that he was no good, but he had a bad shoulder at the time as well too. So Loma was seen as, at one point they were talking about he might be the most gifted boxer to ever step in the ring, even though he did have a loss within his first 3 fights, but he was fighting world champions at that point. So I truly do think that Lomachenko is the best name Devin Haney has on the resume, because he was seen as the top pound for pound guy for a little bit of time. So this will be good for Devin. This will be in the same sense of when Floyd, I wouldn't say when he fought Ricky Hatton or Gaddy. I would say it's more like when Floyd fought Oscar. You know what I mean? Because that's what type of situation this is. You know what I mean? Loma is big money and was big time coming here. He grabbed all the belts at one point as well too. So you have to respect the resume. He absolutely cooked my man Gary Russell Jr. You know what I mean? So y'all have to understand, this man does deserve more respect, and he'll be the biggest name on Devin's resume. So that's what Devin wants. He wants names on his resume. He got Linares on his resume. He has Jojo Diaz on his resume. He has George Kambosos on his resume. Now he can go ahead and get Lomachenko on his resume, and he even has Gamboa. I know a lot of people were dogging Gamboa, but if you were on Fight Night or Knockout Kings, you could crack, and you were considered a pretty good fighter as well too. So at the end of the day, it is what it is. But I truly do feel like Devin Haney is the rising star in boxing right now, because he has no promotion holding him back from whatever he wants to do, and that's real. All right, so let's go ahead and move forward to this weekend's boxing, and that's going to be Bivol versus Zurdo, which is a better fight than him and Canelo, because Canelo, that was a mismatch. That was like somebody fighting a little kid. That's like you being a 6th grader and you fighting a 3rd grader. Even though Canelo's super skilled, Canelo's super small. And Bivol is a guy that is very technical and can go ahead and fight in a way to where it's going to be frustrating for Canelo, just like it was when he fought Floyd Mayweather. So a Canelo-Bivol rematch is not entertaining because it's going to be the same result. It's like when Sugar Shane Mosley thought that he was going to be able to come back against Vernon Forrest, and he absolutely got cooked even worse in the second fight. So why would he want to embarrass himself like that? So I would feel like this is Bivol's big challenge right here, because this is a tough bout, because he just fought the fight of his life, and Zurdo is seen as the big bully, the big Debo, things like that. They're fighting in Abu Dhabi as well too. So that kind of favors Bivol a little bit more, because he didn't have to travel that far to go to Saudi Arabia. And I know he's fought out there before as well too. But Zurdo Ramirez is the one that people still have questions about, even though they think that he's big time. 44 and zip, has a bunch of knockouts on his resume as well too, but he's never fought anybody as good as Bivol. And it seems like he wasn't getting the shot because they were feeling like he was the boogeyman or something of that nature. But I don't see it that way. I just don't think they could sell a fight with him. It's that simple. You know what I mean? And Canelo avoided this guy for some time, and they're hoping that if Zurdo wins, that he'll be able to fight Canelo after this. You know what I mean? Because they really want to set this up for the Canelo stakes. But I truly do think that Canelo still has unfinished business at 168, and there's still some very competitive fights for him at 168. But if y'all want to see Canelo get like and be in a position where he has to be the bigger man against a bigger man, I don't know. That's a 50-50 fight because it depends on how much of a dog the guy he is fighting. We already know Bivol is a dog, but would Zurdo be able to handle Canelo the way that Bivol did? I think that Canelo would make a ton of money if he fought Zurdo, if Zurdo came off of a win against Bivol. But I think that this fight might wind up ending in a draw as well too. So we'll see how it goes. But the fight is only intriguing because Bivol beat Canelo. Now, if Bivol doesn't beat Canelo and they still just have this fight, nobody would be interested in this. You know what I mean? Because these are two guys that are don't come to the front of your brain when you're thinking about top boxers, even though they are top elite boxers, in my opinion. It's just that they don't sell. You know what I mean? They're not selling me anything that I care for. And so pretty much the only thing selling this fight is a WBA belt and the fact that Bivol beat Zurdo, and that this is a possible lead into Bivol Canelo too, which I feel highly doubtful about now because I think Bivol just wants to walk down the road with that win and call it a day when it comes to Canelo. He doesn't want to give Canelo no opportunity to feel like he can beat him at all because he knows that he got a lot of love in that fight because the judges couldn't deny him. That's the whole thing. So with that, we're going to go ahead and take another commercial break. And when we get back, we're going to go ahead and jump into talking tickets for you guys. I also have the Bet Us Play of the Day as well, too. So you guys stay tuned to the premier sports betting show, the PrimeTime Angles Live, with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper.
Good News Only Racing Club, led by the legendary Doug O'Neill, the trainer of 2 Kentucky Derby winners and I'll Have Another and Nyquist. Also trained 2-time Breeders' Cup champ Golden Sense, who are just a part of a long list of thoroughbred champions trained by Doug O'Neill. The Good News Only Racing Club has a young core of horses to look out for in Dennis's Celery, Irish Heatwave, and Notre Dame, just to name a few. Win the day every day with the Good News Only Racing Club, a proud sponsor of the NFL Bet Exchange.
From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
Tune into Big Wave Boxing every week with a brand new guest with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper, getting the best boxing stories, best boxing angles, and the truth when it all comes down to the sweet science. Tune into Big Wave Boxing on the Prime Wave Media channel on YouTube.
All right, it's time for us to go ahead and talk them tickets. But up first, let's go ahead and get into the Bet Us dog bet of the day. And it's going to be in the NBA. And we're going to go ahead and take the Hawks tonight. The Hawks, I like the Hawks tonight. The Hawks coming into this game, to me, they look good. And I think that we got a good shot with them as well to win this game. And so I think that we should be able to just make some money tonight. You know what I mean? It's that simple. You know what I mean? At the end of the day. So when I look at this spot, you have a spot where, you know, the Raptors are good. I'm not going to take that away. They're playing really good under the radar basketball. But I think tonight they might be an over bet because I think people will get really comfortable with them tonight. I really like the Hawks going into this game because now you can see the spread dipping down a little bit. Now it's at plus 125. I took it at plus 130. So this is going to be the Bet Us NBA dog bet of the day on Halloween. So let's see how the Hawks can do for us. Let's see how it shakes out. They're dropping 117 to the Raptors 105. They have a great field goal percentage as well too. They're one of the better free throw shooting teams in the NBA as well. So I like the way that we're setting up in this game, and they are forcing a good amount of turnovers as well. So they should be good money tonight. The Hawks are really good in every category over the Raptors. But I know we're playing in Toronto tonight, and that game is always a good spot, especially on holidays like Halloween and things like that. That team always figures out a way to show up. So that's why they're going to get a lot of love here. And, you know, it is what it is at the end of the day. So pretty much that's what it's going to be. We're going to take the Hawks with the plus 130. Let's see if Trey and the gang can get us home. So there it is, the Bet Us NBA dog bet of the day. And you guys can go ahead, follow my Twitter. I'm going to go ahead and tweet out the play as well, too. If you are interested in a sports book, you guys can sign up with my promo code, and you guys will be able to get yourself some bonuses and things like that. You know, just sign up. And then if you do confirm for me your first time deposit, I'll go ahead and I'll bless you with the exclusive client card for the rest of the month as well too. So just let me know what's going on. Let me know that you signed up for real. You know, you might even need to screenshot your first deposit for me so I know, so I can let my partners over at Bet Us know to go ahead and get you right. You know what I mean? So it is what it is, but make sure you put it in with that promo code. You got to use the link, and the link will be available on my Twitter page once I go ahead and tweet out the play. All right, so make sure you guys follow directions, and we do this thing right. All right, and I'm going to go ahead and put it on my IG story as well too, so you guys don't miss on that. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into your favorite subject, my favorite subject, and that's going to be talking tickets. And we're talking tickets today. But this is what we're doing first. We're jumping into the NBA with the super high five. We're going 30-1 today. We got the over 216.5 with the 76ers and Wizards. This is going to be one of our better games of the day. And this one is a game that can catch you off guard as well, too. I would say this: don't overbet the Sixers if you love them tonight, because the Wizards always play really well in DC, and they really play very well against old foes from the old Atlantic division as well too. So we'll see how it goes, see how it shakes out. But I like the over 216.5. The Nets are in a game where they should win because they're going against a very, very lackadaisical Pacers team, in my opinion. The Pacers are hit and miss. They'll be good for 2 nights, and then they'll be bad for 5 nights. So I like the way that the Nets are going in here. The Nets got some questions to answer as well too. So I'm taking them with the 8.5 tonight. Let's see how it goes. Let's see how it shakes out. That's a good play, taking the Wiz with the plus the points, low. So I think that's a good deal right there. Rise above anything. I like your thinking there. And then we have the Hawks once again, and it looks like our guy rides above everything, likes the under in that game. So if you guys don't want to choose a side, maybe you guys should rock with the under, because my man knows what he's talking about as well too. But I love the Hawks plus 130 money line in that spot. So we'll see how that one shapes up. We'll see how it shakes out. And then we have the over 230.5 with the Grizzlies and the Jazz tonight. This is going to be a very, very fun game, in my opinion. And the Jazz are a very, very live dog in this spot. They've been bet down to 2.5 tonight because the Jazz are just a little different this year, since they did invest in the youth movement and got out the superstar mentality, where they have people that just want to keep playing hero ball and holding their team up. So pretty much it was a win-win situation for the Jazz moving forward, getting rid of Donovan Mitchell. All right, and the Rockets, simply reason why we're taking the Rockets tonight, the Clippers have lost 4 in a row. Nobody wants to talk about this. The Clippers are playing horrendous basketball. The Clippers played the Lakers. their first game of the season, everybody swore that the Clippers were a championship contender. I saw right then and there that they were not a championship contender because the Lakers just did not play a good game that night. You know what I mean? I think if they played again, the Lakers would beat them by 10, to be honest with you. So the Rockets are a team that's gonna be under bet heavy tonight because everybody has this idea that this is gonna be an easy 10-point win for the Clippers. The Clippers just got beat by 21 points by the Pelicans, and I don't think that and I think that they were still down 1 star in that game. I have to check the stats real quick. Let me check the stats because I just don't want to throw out bad information to you. So my thing is like this, because I watched the score of the game. I didn't watch the game because I was busy with the NFL and I was busy with some family stuff as well too. But yeah, Zion played yesterday, but Brandon Ingram didn't play yesterday. And it wound up being CJ McCollum being their big scorer yesterday, but they had double figures from everybody in the starting lineup, and then Larry Nance chipped in 15 off the bench. So this team is playing really good basketball, the Pelicans in a sense. So that's something that everybody's going to look at. Well, you know, they're playing against one of the better teams, but the Clippers just aren't good, man. Let's just keep it real. And you know, they did not look good. They haven't looked good. They lost 2 in a row to a Thunder team that's headed to nothing. They're worried about the first pick in the draft. So there's a 30-1 ticket right there. We're going to see how it goes. We're going to see how it shakes out, but I like what I see. All right, so we move forward, and we got the Monday Night Football bets. I love the Browns tonight with the plus 150. Then we're going to take the under 22.5 for the first half, and then we're going to take the Browns first quarter with the plus half a point, and then we're going to do an alternate spread tonight. I got the Browns with the minus 1.5 and plus 155 on the alternate spread tonight. Let's try to get all these tickets home. That's how I'm feeling, baby. So dog pound, woof, woof. Let's go ahead and get it on Halloween versus little brother, the Bengals, who you've beaten 4 times and really 5 out of the last 6 times you guys played each other. So let's go ahead and keep Burrow winless against the Browns. All right, we move, and then we finish up with the jewel of the night, the championship portion of the night, and that's the World Series Game 3. I got the Astros tonight with the minus 1.5. That's going to be a plus 150 if it does cash. We could cash that out Saturday night as well too on a plus 160 premium for my clients as well. And then we have the first 5 innings. I got the Astros up. And then I feel like the Astros are actually going to get some runs in the first inning as well, too. Or, you know, both of them get some runs. You get the Phillies get a run and the Astros get a run. So regardless, if we get 2 runs, we get a plus 260 in the first inning as well, too. So there it is. There it is. That is going to be our talking tickets for today, and that's going to be our show for today as well, too. So I thank you guys very much for tuning in. Tomorrow, we will have the PrimeTime Angles live a little bit later on, probably about noon or 1 o'clock, but we will have the NFL Bet Exchange at 10 a.m. tomorrow morning. We'll be going over Week 9. Well, I'll be going over Week 9. Jeff is still a 50-50 confirmation, so I'll get with him today, but most likely it will be me. And so you guys be ready for NFL Bet Exchange. It should be good. I have Jeff's plays as well too, so you guys just make sure to tune in for that, and then tune in for PrimeTime Angles live as well. And you know what? I'm feeling good. I'm feeling great. We got some big things going. And, man, you guys just keep tuning in, and let's just get these numbers up. That's all I'm worried about right now, okay? And as I said before, you guys are the absolute best, and there is no me without you. As I always say, bet with your head, not with your heart. The movement is moving. Love you, Pops, and we are gone.
From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.